Hey there. Oh, show you where we're at. Starting my morning. I tell you, I was on a hike yesterday and taking some pictures of some of the most spectacular places in the world. And it's so weird how pictures don't do it justice because, I don't know, they don't capture the depth or there were times yesterday I was standing on the edge of death with this, who knows how far down, I don't know, quarter mile at least down into some rocky river below. And it looked so terrifying just being there. And I tried to, good morning, Wanda, tried to take a couple pictures. And we did take a couple pictures, and they turned out well. But it doesn't nearly capture what you're dealing with and where you're at and the experiences you're having. Like, right off there, that looks kind of small. And granted, they're not snow covered, but they're not small. And I don't know, back here somewhere there's snow-covered mountains, but they don't look much. So you'll just have to use your imagination. This is even more scenic than Downers Grove, Illinois. It is. David, are you from Downers Grove, Illinois? That's where I'm from. Don't know. You might know that. Hold on, I'm balancing the phone on a rock this morning. Tried to balance it on my wallet, my phone charger, and a glove. Tell you, it didn't work so well. I went and saw this in the distance, this rock, and this might be too much information. But there's various animals that walk around here. There's a ton of elk, and they're having babies right now, so it's kind of dangerous. And I saw this rock, and I had to make sure, good morning, Tommy John, make sure that the rock was just that it was just a rock. Because, I don't know, I'm not a biologist or a zoologist, but I haven't done any research into the exact appearance of elk poo. And for a moment I said, I wonder if that's a rock or elk poo. Good morning, Olson. And good morning to you. My name is Ken Tracy, and this is Coffee with Ken. It is Sunday morning. It is May 26th. I am telling you, the days keep accelerating as we, time passes quicker and quicker as we age. And, I mean, it seems like just yesterday I was wearing a Santa hat in my old house, which was a year and a half ago Christmas, and doing a show wearing a Santa hat. And again, I give the date every day and the month and say happy Sunday to you every day. But I just can't believe, we're halfway through 2024, just about. But anyway, this is a show. What's the temperature? It's currently 33 degrees. I don't know. I'm at about 6,000 or 7,000 feet. And 33 degrees just seems a little nicer at this height. I don't know why that is. It's supposed to get up into the 50s today. They've had a cold spell where I'm at here in Yellowstone. Got one of those big raven flying at me. I was told on my hike yesterday by a woman I was traveling with. Somebody asked how was work. Hold on, I got to get to my intro and stuff. All I did was online training yesterday. So I don't really know how the job was. But I think it's going to be really, really good. But anyway, I was on a hike yesterday went on a really cool hike yesterday with two guides. They're employees here, but they work in the rec department where I'm working. And their job is to show the other employees fun, cool things about the park and about the area. And we went on a really neat hike. We rode in a van. It was just me and the two guides and who had bear spray, fortunately. Not fortunately, I mean fortunately, because we didn't need it. And two other ladies I was with that had told me about it. And it was awesome, awesome, awesome hike. And it was 4.5 miles. I think it wasn't a real back-breaking hike, but it was plenty for me. And I can feel it in my legs today, and had a great night's sleep. And it felt real good. On the hike itself, we saw elk, we saw a ton of bison, various deer-type things, because there's a bunch of deer-type things here. But on the ride, we saw a black bear, we saw 2 grizzlies, and we saw mama moose with a baby off in the distance. And it really was awesome. And that was all on my first day. So it was cool. But anyway, this woman told me there's only 26 species of birds in the park, and that seemed awfully small. And yesterday, while I'm doing my online training, and I'm going to tell her this when I see her today, if I see her today, there's over 300 species of birds in the park. So did you know that? I doubt it. But anyway, this is a show about me talking, and a show about me sharing some experiences, sharing some ups and downs we have in life, sharing some of the adventures. And over the last week and a half, it'll be, 2 weeks now. 2 weeks? No, it couldn't be 2 weeks. When did I leave? I left last Saturday from the safety in Naperville, Illinois on my scooter, headed to Montana, and made it there, and now I'm back in Yellowstone. And I'll tell you what, it's been an amazing 8 days. But anyway, this isn't, for those that have been watching a while, it's not just a show about me talking. For those that have been watching a while, it's also a show about me sharing my love of coffee. I have a story to tell, but I'm not going to tell it right now. For those, I've already said that. So I got a nice hot cup of coffee in front of me, and I am so excited to have my first sip. My hope is wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you got a hot cup of coffee in front of you as well. Cheers to us. It's pretty warm, pretty hot. I'd like it hotter. But again, I just got it from the employee dining area. I'm going to cover it up with my hands to try and keep it as hot as I can so I can talk a little longer today. I have some tragic news, and I'm only joking, so don't think anything's totally tragic, but it's for a guy with Coffee with Ken show that thinks there's something toxic to decaf coffee. The tragic news is I had my first cup of decaf ever, I think. Certainly not intentionally. And it was an accident, and it was yesterday morning during my show. So if something seemed a little off in my show, it was because I was drinking decaf. And that's one of the hazards of being on the road, doing a coffee show, away from your home and away from your maker and your coffee bags and your grocery stores. I didn't notice the orange lever on the coffee machine I was pouring the coffee out of yesterday. And I went back to get my second cup, and I was going to the same coffee maker, and I noticed not only the orange letters or the orange handle, but I noticed the word decaf on it, and I almost gagged. Said, no wonder that coffee show was not good. Friends don't let friends drink decaf. Isn't that the truth? Let's have another sip. So here I am in Yellowstone, and I'm going to be working at the park, meeting people, and have been meeting people, and I can't believe I have only been here about a day and a half. And there was a man sitting there in a smoking area. There's a few smokers here. There's plenty of drinkers as well, by the way. We might talk about that later. And I said, good morning, Jeff, because his name's Jeff. And he said, well, it's morning. The only thing good about it is I got my coffee now. Then I had to explain to him how important coffee was to me, and that I have a coffee talk show. And went over and talked to him a little bit, and as I was leaving, I said, well, it's still a good morning, whether we have coffee or not. Coffee just makes it a little better. And that seemed like a nice commercial for a coffee. If I could do commercials for coffee, all the companies, the Starbucks, the Folgers, the Dunkin' Donuts, the fancy schmancy brands that I don't even know, could pool their vast resources and hire me to do public service announcements for coffee, the morning's still good with or without coffee. It's just a little better with coffee. That would be my commercial. It'd be wholesome. I'd have children, probably my children, or perhaps model-looking children running off and playing, and I'll be a good dad pointing at them and saying, be careful. But anyway, how you guys doing? How you feeling? How'd you sleep? Oh, I slept so good, and I woke up with a quiet mind. I'm a little frightened. Okay, well, this shows you how quiet my mind is. I'm frightened that I have a quiet mind. I think over the last whole bunch of years, I've been dealing with stuff and anxiety and fear and waking up going, what the hell am I going to do? What the hell am I going to do? And I woke up this morning, and other than the fact that I had to go to the bathroom, there was no fear in my mind or panic or anxiety other than the fact I might not have anything to talk about in future shows. My mind was very quiet, and I'd gotten a good night's sleep, and I had a new spot in my room because my roommate, who I'd had for all of a day and a half, left, and I switched beds and took his spot by the window. And so now I'm down to one roommate, and the bed was comfortable and the room was quiet. And woke up laying there, tried to look at my phone to figure out what time it was, but the charge was gone. Hooked it up to my portable charger and kind of started my morning. And after laying there a while, and just felt so quiet and so relaxed and so comfortable. And so, as far as I know, nothing that urgent to do today. Because although I need to get started with working, I think I've now done all I can to actually get doing my job. It was funny. Yesterday there was like a, I don't know, 2 to 4 hour online training that I did at night after my day and after my hike and after my trip to a local town. And at the end of this, and I tend to think I don't need to study for these things, and you needed to get an 80% to pass this test and finish the training, and there was 25 questions, and they were multiple choice. First time I got like a 64%. Second time I changed some answers, and I got a 76%. I'm going, okay, well, sucks, but I'll have to do it again. So I changed some other answers, and my score ended up spiraling downward to 60%. And then I changed some more answers, and I wasn't a lot of times they'll tell you what the correct answer is after you get them wrong, but they didn't on this. And out of 25 questions, and there were some I go, I think it's this, and then I'd change it, and my score would go down. And each time doing the test took a few minutes, so it wasn't glorious. And I did about 8 times. And I figured out after, 40 minutes of almost throwing in the towel and going to my HR department, look, I can't get this right. I don't know the answers. I figured out I could go back, a way to go back over the material and figure out what the right answers were. So, although I wasn't given a score on that last time, I'm happy to report I passed the test and went, I'm ready to take on the job. Do I plan to explore the park on my Bergman? I certainly do. I will say riding out here on a scooter was, I was underpowered at 400 cc's, and more importantly than that, underskilled as a rider, because I'm scared of going really fast, and scared of the winds, and scared of the trucks, and scared of a whole bunch of things. But getting into this park 2 days ago now was fantastic. And I was scared a little bit at first because it was a pretty much straight climb up to the highest point in the park. Not the highest point, but the highest road point. the peaks go higher, but I didn't go across the peaks. And at that point, I might be 8,500, maybe 9,000 square feet to my right. Square feet, vertical feet. There was a sheer wall of snow that went another half mile up. It was kind of scary, but it was kind of cool at the same time. And I knew I was at the top of the ride, and then started going down and cruising down through these twists and turns, these 2-lane roads with 45 mile an hour maximum speed. And it was the most incredible ride I've ever been on, and probably one of the most incredible rides in the world, I guess. You know, I'll say it. It's a spectacular place with twisty turns through mountains and bison and elk and occasionally bears. Fortunately, I haven't seen a bear on my scooter. I haven't actually seen an elk on my scooter, but I certainly saw a bison. And they're big, and they seem docile enough, but they're very capable. And you don't know if they've ever seen a Suzuki Bergman 400 or not. And they might look at it as a predator or something and just crush me into little bits. And I don't want to be crushed into little bits by a stampeding. And I threw out this word yesterday. For those above probably, I don't know, 45 years old or older will know what I'm saying when I say by a herd of Tatanka. What book are you currently reading if you're reading a book right now? I am reading a book right now, and I appreciate you asking that. I'm only 17 pages in. First night I went to the employee pub, and there was a lot of, as often as when you go to a bar, there's drunk people there. And for a guy that hasn't drank in a while and wasn't buzzed, I just look at really drunk people with some sadness now, because I don't know, it's maybe fun when you're doing it, but the next day, you know, you're feeling silly, you're feeling like you spent money, you're feeling regretful, and you're feeling kind of hungover. And I was just kind of feeling bad. So at about 9 o'clock, and the real reason is the ladies next to me dumped a whole bunch of chocolate on the table next to me and almost insisted I have some. And I told them about my issue with chocolate. And I had one, a little peanut butter cup, but it's like crack. And I soon gobbled up, I don't know, all that I could reach, but they would be willing to give me more. And I didn't want to have more than 5 or 6 of these bad boys. And I did, and wanted more and wanted to eat all that was on the table. So I fled back to my the safety of my dorm area, the rec room in my dorm area, which was quiet this night, and has a bookshelf with probably, I don't know, 50 or 100 books in it. And I found a book I hadn't read by John Grisham called The Appeal. And I'm 17 pages into it and looking forward to spending some quiet time, I don't know, on a couch or in the hotel lobby or in my room maybe, reading the book and kind of passing the hours in a peaceful, mind-quieting way. Yeah, because I used to really enjoy reading novels, and haven't read a novel, like I said yesterday, for probably, I don't know, 5 or 10 years. I've read a lot of business or self-help or motivational books, but it'll be good to kind of read a fictional novel and just kind of, I don't know, stretch my imagination, if you will. Corey Winglier says, when is the Dutch girl joining? Yesterday I had a woman from the Netherlands come up, ask where I got this coffee. She and I don't have any plans to reconnect to this morning. She's probably figured out where I got the coffee, and she probably doesn't need my information anymore. By the way, I'm about 8 days into unshaved. I don't know how long I'm going. I don't like these big, huge beards that some dudes are rocking these days. Good for them for doing it, but I think they'd look funny for me. But I almost like the seasonedness of the salt in my facial hair that I have. And I don't know if I'm going to shave or not or what have you. And I'm sure you guys care a heck of a lot. I did shave my head yesterday, so don't you worry. Don't you worry. No stubble on the cabeza. Oh, Tatanka. That was from Dances with Wolves. It's what the Native Americans called the buffalo. So they were always hunting and following the herds looking for Tatanka. And I will tell you what, you get one Tatanka down, you're going to feed a lot of people for a while because these bad boys are big. And in May, they're just shedding their winter coats, so it's cool. They have this bright orange winter coat. I mean, it's not orange, but it's a real bright brownish orange. And they're shedding it. Hello, South Ireland. And there's a deep dark coat underneath. And it's just a really, really, really beautiful place. And again, I was saying, riding out here on my scooter, I was overmatched. But I am so lucky to have the mobility. When I was interviewing, they were saying we recommend having cars, and I could see that. I live in a cool little community, but without having any transportation, you might feel isolated. But the fact that I can just hop on my scooter at any time and go for a ride around the park, let me tell you, it's not a small park. I could spend, it's a 3-hour ride from one end to the other, probably at least. Or I could take off out of the park and go to nearby towns in Montana where I went yesterday. Hold on, let me have another sip of coffee. I went to Gardner, Montana yesterday, and it's down, got to be one of the twistiest roads in the world, I'll tell you what. And you're coming down a big hill or mountain or whatever, and it's just shoo, 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 shoo. And to the right, there's this massive canyon, mostly with guardrails. And you don't want to hit a guardrail on a scooter, so it's not like a guardrail's going to do you a whole lot of good, other than, you won't go flying off into a canyon. But either way, it's not going to go well. Greetings from Azerbaijan. I apologize for messing the pronunciation up. But anyway, beautiful, beautiful ride. And I'd heard about this little restaurant coffee shop in town. It's a tiny little mountain town. I don't know the population. I should look that up. But a lot of souvenirs and a lot of people coming from the park, because I guess this park gets 4.5 million visitors a year. So they get a lot of traffic for people coming through, and like a lot of, I don't know, cowboy stuff, cowboy hats and belts and knives, mountain gear and stuff like that. So it's really neat shop for tourists. But I'd heard about this awesome coffee shop called How Warm Does It Get During the Day? In the next week, the warmest it's going to be, I think, is 68 during the day. But I asked somebody yesterday, it'll get up into the mid-80s during the summer, but they still can get snow here. And, I think it's going to be mid-50s today. But anyway, cool coffee shop I think it's called Wonderland, and it's a little restaurant with some good-looking food and the most comfortable leather couch and 2 beautiful chairs next to a fireplace. And I'm betting for a guy that loves people watching and loves drinking coffee and loves editing videos or maybe reading books, I'm going to spend a lot of time in the town of Gardner on one of these chairs, drinking coffee for $2.50, by the way, with free refills, and doing some people watching and enjoying some coffee and passing some quiet hours in a really, really cool coffee shop. And one day when I start working and start getting paychecks and making the big bucks, I might even have lunch. I might even, I don't know, bring an employee with me and treat. If I had to, make some good money, but we'll see. But in the meantime, I'm looking forward to getting there and enjoying, again, some people watching and some comfortable seating and some nice coffee and some nice employees. I was talking to, while I was there, I was a realtor again for 17 years. And curious always about real estate and thinking I'm in such a beautiful place and feeling quiet and feeling peaceful here in Wyoming, Montana area in a way I haven't felt living in the western suburbs of Chicago in ever. And I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, but it had me thinking about, hey, I wonder if I could buy a house here. So I hop on my friendly Redfin app and searched up homes for sale in Gardner. It doesn't seem like, there's some cool stores and a cool coffee shop, but, it doesn't seem overly fancy. And the cheapest price on a home in the town was $785,000, and it was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath for 2,162 feet. For those that are curious what it looks like, I recommend you look it up. It did look fairly nice. It had kind of a cabiny look, or with big windows, but inside was very basic white appliances with low builder grade cabinets, and nothing fancy at all. And it was $785,000. Granted, it would have beautiful views, but the next cheapest was like $950,000, and then there was 2 more for sale. One was $1.2 million, and one was $2.45 million. All of them out of my price range. I have no price range. Let's be serious. But I aspire to have a price range someday. And I was talking to the waiter, and he goes, "Hey, how do you guys live here? Where do you live?" And he said, "Well, most of the employees, the boss owns some apartments and houses the employees, but I own an RV and live in the RV and love working here." And that kind of sounded interesting to me, because, I don't know, I've had a lot of highs and lows, and living in an RV could be kind of cool. I don't know how much it costs to buy one or live in one or where you park it or what you do. But I've really enjoyed the simple living, and I've talked about buying a tiny house before or what have you. Kind of was interesting to me. He said most people don't buy homes around here. The people that buy homes set up Airbnbs. And it's kind of sad. But I guess that's the way it is in these mountain towns that get a ton of tourists. They'd be great investments, and you put in some new but cheap cabinetry and white appliances, and rent them out for huge amounts of money so people can dart into Yellowstone at any time. I haven't tried to check in, but I've heard these rooms in this hotel might be $500 a night. I don't know if that's true, but it seems kind of pricey. But again, we are in one of the most spectacular places in the world, and I'm getting it for, I think, $500 a month. So that's pretty cool. Let's have a little more coffee. Somebody asked if my roommate is pretty. Well, he is not. I don't know. Nothing against his appearance or his looks. Not trying to say anything bad, but I don't find him particularly pretty. I mean, I'm sure he's a fine enough looking human, a guy, but when I met him and shook his hand, I didn't think, wow, this man is very pretty. So, yeah. But anyway, it's Sunday morning, and I'm just getting going with my coffee. And I don't know what my day holds. I don't know how anyone's going to communicate with me and tell me to start training at my job. I imagine I'm going to be getting some emails. I don't know how the company that puts this on works it out and gets people coming in from all over the world to work here and stay here and play here and what have you. But they do. And again, I did all my online training yesterday, and I feel good about that. I don't feel right at answering that. What happened to my other roommate? Why did he leave? He had some problems. I don't know. He had some issues. But anyway, I don't know when I'm gonna start. I'm hoping I start training today. But if I don't, that'll be okay too. I've got 2 wheels. I've got plenty of gas and enough gas money and enough coffee money to take me wherever I want to go in Yellowstone. So I'm going to do some exploring. I'm going to do some people meeting. I'm going to do some coffee drinking. I'm going to do some video editing. And I'm going to enjoy my day. And enjoy my day, whatever it holds, whether it's starting work or again, just experiencing life here in Yellowstone. Oh, yeah, Match PT said church. That's a good thing. When I was walking over, I was wondering if the town next door has a cool church, and thinking I should look that up and maybe ride down and try and find one. And I think that's a great idea. because I'm in the habit of going to church and start my Sunday mornings at service and enjoying the people and the experience and the sermon and the shaking hands and oftentimes the coffee and the kindness and the hanging out with people that are trying to better themselves. Because again, I was at the pub the other night, and I think the people were trying to entertain themselves and enjoy themselves, but I doubt anybody there was bettering themselves, including me on that day. And I think when you hang out with people that are trying to get better and improve themselves, whether it's at a gym or a yoga class or a church or a library or a park, doing a hike, you're going to find yourself getting better as well. And again, I'm 55 years old. Probably got 30 years on this planet, God willing, and I'd like to see what I can do with this body that God blessed me with. And I hope that's a goal of yours today. You don't have to climb to the top of Mount Everest or read the Bible or, I don't know, even work out. But there's so many little ways that we can get better every day. And if you haven't, I'd suggest making your bed. It's a good place to start. And just kind of look around as you go through your day and you ask yourself, hey, would the world be a little better if I picked up that piece of garbage on the street? And I think you're going to find the answer will be, yeah, the world will be better. And if you can make the world a little better, you're going to be a little better as well. So I want to thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you hopping on and following a little bit of my adventure. One more sip of what is now cold coffee, because it is 33 degrees out. But it's still fairly tasty. I want to thank you so much for joining. I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful night's sleep. Hope your Memorial Day weekend is going great. Hope your coffee is hot. Hope your day is bright and happy. Hope you're feeling good. Hope you're loving yourself. Hope you're forgiving yourself. And as always, I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.